We have a Lagos Court of Arbitration, for instance. And there's no reason why we cannot have another arbitration court in Abuja, for instance. Well, that's why I'm saying that probably in future and thinking forward, we should probably insist as much as possible that when it is going to be an arbitration clause, let it be domiciled in Nigeria. That's my point. I would throw this open to both the NBA, Ministry of Justice, Chamber of Commerce, because there's what is called an arbitration economy. I mean, everywhere in the world. And why can't we benefit? Why should we be supporting other economies on contracts that emanate from Nigeria? I think this is an issue that,
Kyria, and part of what the Honourable Minister said earlier was to say that there's the implication that the clause in that agreement indicated that the place of arbitration will be in the UK.
But how could someone...
And see, don't forget too that the federal government actually challenged the award in the Federal High Court.
In Lagos.
In Lagos. It was ignored by the UK court. So those people who have been saying that federal government did nothing have actually not been fair to the federal government. Every step along the line, federal government took steps to ensure that this kind of nightmare does not arise.
But Honourable Minister, the previous administration, the administration before 2015, right, because we learned that the first award came, and after 5 years, there was no appeal by Nigerian government. Perhaps before the advent of this administration. Because of the delay in Nigerian government appealing, led to the second award by the British court.
I am not aware of that. What I know is that the contract was signed in 2010. They went to arbitration in 2013. In January 2017, and the arbitration gave an award against Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources for $6.597 billion. And immediately, the federal government engaged P&ID to see whether we can settle. So all those people who are, I've given you the dates. Contract was signed in 2010, the went to arbitration in 2013, even before we came in. 2017, award was given. We entered into negotiation immediately. It did not yield anything. 2019, they went for enforcement. So where is the 5 years that they are alleging that we did nothing?
No, well, again, we're speaking almost ex nihilo now, because Honourable Minister, see, the contract was entered into in 2010, yes, January 2010. Yes. One will assume that there are timelines, or there were timelines in the agreement. At such and such a time, Party A would do, let's assume Kyria is P&ID, it's the judgment creditor now. It would perform so much of its own side. Federal government would perform so much of its own side, as it were, or Ministry of Petroleum Resources. When did the breach occur? What had P&ID done to say that, by 2 years later, I say, okay, there has been a breach? What is as Nigerians would say, what is on ground, to show that they have made either part performance of their contract or full performance of their contract? In fact,
before the minister comes in, I read a text on this matter, where they said Nigeria was supposed to be supplying 400 cubic feet. That was where it ended. He said that Nigeria reneged. I was now wondering, was there any part of their own contribution which they did not renege on, that Nigeria did, as to now accuse Nigeria of ensuring that the project did not, because they are saying that the project failed because of Nigeria's inability to fulfill its own part of the agreement. And it has not been made specific.
Kyria, I asked that question earlier.
And I answered.
Yes. Sorry, Honourable Minister, yes. I asked the question earlier. Look, you construct pipelines.
Yes.
All right? And then you have your gas gathering fields. And when you gather the gas, you now pipe the gas to where they are supposed to process. So,
where any processing plant?
That's the question I'm asking you.
We are saying that, to the best of our knowledge, yes, this company did not invest 1 penny in Nigeria. Central Bank Governor said it publicly that there's a procedure when a foreign company is bringing funds into Nigeria to invest. There are forms to fill. There are records. and you state what you want to do with it. Now, there's no record that P&ID brought in 1 penny into Nigeria for this project. We do not see anywhere where is any activity was conducted or undertaken by P&ID before they now claim that the contract was breached and rushed to arbitration. There are many questions
this is a
to
movie.
be answered. And it's a nice, I wish it was a movie.
We wish
It's
it
a
were a
very
movie,
serious
yes.
matter. Now, that's why I think that the investigations being conducted by the FCC, NIA, and IG would actually unravel many things.
Exactly.
And Nigerians will begin to see who are really the true enemies of Nigeria. To begin to see who collaborated with this, foreign company. To the extent that today, 1/5 of our total foreign reserve is being threatened. Now, it's a very, very serious issue.
Because, Mr. Why I asked you whether Nigeria was represented at the arbitration was this point you made now. They didn't bring in a penny. They don't have any infrastructure in Nigeria established preparatory to be part of the agreement. And a court of law gave the judgment. So if we were represented, why weren't these facts, laid bare before the court?
I'm told that under the arbitration law, this particular one is that Nigeria would nominate an arbitrator. P&ID will nominate one. The two of them will jointly agree on the third arbitrator. And that was done. But how they are now agreed, how they arrived at this kind of punitive award beats one's imagination, because it's a world record. It does not, it goes beyond just compensating P&ID, because I don't go to an arbitration, you tell them this is what I've lost. We do not see what they've lost. This is a 20-year gas contract.
We have not even reached half mark.
We have not even started.
Half mark, even if say 10 years.
So this is why we are very confident that we will succeed.
I'm wondering, still looking at the league, say there's a breach of a contract. It's not as if there is frustration. In other words, it's assuming, some persons will raise this question, okay, you were supposed to have done X, Y, Z, you didn't do that, and so on and so forth, but can the contract be revived? If a contract is frustrated, it's a different, it might be a different consideration.
You see, Kingsley, I think if a company, ab initio, had an agenda, it's more profitable for him to go to arbitration, because something will come out of the arbitration and he has invested nothing. So whatever comes out of the arbitration is a profit for him. This is the way I look at it. But I think we should just allow our lawyers to go ahead with the filings, and but we want to assure Nigerians that the federal government would not sleep until this matter is resolved in a manner that will not injure the interests of Nigeria or Nigerians.
And it's also important to bring in the actors in the Ministry of Petroleum Resources at that point in time, those persons who are directly involved in the negotiation of this contract. Because if you ask me and many Nigerians, one would say that, look, that was supposed to be a scam, so to speak. It's a contract scam. And those involved, they should be made to actually, not just to face the law, but to explain to Nigerians their level of involvement in this. Because from all indications, Honorable Minister, for all you've told us and our available records from the CBN, it shows that there was no deal in the first place. There was no concrete deal, in terms of deals backed by law, deals backed by all other necessary actions to be taken before such a huge contract is awarded.
You see, Kyria, one thing is clear. Without insider collaboration, would not have reached this solid pass. Clearly, the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources had enough competent, experienced personnel to know that this kind of contract cannot be entered into without involving NNPC, without involving the IOC. So that is why until this investigation is completed and concluded, we would not be able to know exactly what happened. But on the surface, I think it was a sham, ab initio, and the actors knew where they were going.
Well, that is the case you have repeated, Honorable Minister, and some commentators will also, most respectfully, review the decision by the UK High Court judge and wonder how His Lordship arrived at the punitive figures that have now been imposed on Nigeria. I mean, you're just wondering what's going on in the judiciary in the UK.
I think what they worked out is they worked out to say the initial one is 6.5 billion,
whatever,
and then there's a 7% increase annually. Between then and now.
That's between 2010 and now.
And now that gave 9.6.
And like I said, number one, arbitrations are also supposed to be restitutional, to restitute you and bring you back to the position you were. There will be no loss. Now, what does $9.6 billion represent? Is it their investment? Or is it the anticipated profit in 20 years?
Yeah, that's what it is, from what I...
No, but we have done only 9 years out of the 20 years.
Honestly, these are issues that I'm sure will be canvassed, very vigorously, both at the level of, asking for self-execution, level of, asking for the setting aside of this, very unfair award. But like I keep saying, this award is unreasonable, goes far beyond protecting the commercial interests of P&ID. It is exorbitant. It's not justifiable.
Well, all right, yeah, we'll have some. I just, when I was talking about the disposition of His Lordship at the UK High Court, London High Court, one will wonder how the great Lord Denning, Master of the Rolls, might have viewed a case of this nature.
The one Justice Butcher was...
Hey, it's Justice Butcher that gave this, but yes. Lord Denning, the Master of the Rolls, how might he have viewed a matter of this nature? I mean, you're trying to...
All right, 32 weeks now, let's also see what Nigerians are thinking. From Akeju Olabaju, say the role of public officers in this kind of deal and other similar deals are suspicious. How do we explain how a joint venture translated to award of contract, and when it derailed, you submitted the arbitration clause for determination outside the jurisdiction?
Now, Festus Akimboyewa has this tweet. Government at all levels in Nigeria should examine the terms and conditions of all contracts they sign with foreign companies so as not to fall into this trap again. Henceforth, any arbitration clause in contracts we sign with foreign companies must be tailored to reflect our laws. That's part of what the Honourable Minister has said. And certainly, there are lapses in the way this matter was handled since 2010. Federal government must file the appeal and stay of execution of the judgment against the country.
Now, Abdul says the present government, though not the cause, should do everything possible to reverse the situation. Nigeria must appeal the judgment immediately, investigate and prosecute all those involved. Corruption must have played a role in the whole issue.
Amabwala Humbabs, the federal government must go after everyone that's been a part of this shady deal. The EFCC, ICPC and others have prominent roles to play. The country can't afford to lose such a huge sum at this crucial time in our national life. Government must review the case and, if bad enough, should negotiate for reduction. How did we get here? It's simple. Many of those who sat in positions of authority in the past were, in its words, just wicked. They were only interested in what accrued to them, not about the entire country. These persons practically threw us under the bus.
Use the word Donald Trump. You went about it. Okay, from Titus Monday, he said, wow, evil forces at work. Some people are just bent on seeing this country on its knees. Key actors in the contract should be fished out and made to account of what happened.
Mike Ayakwo, the judgment dealt against Nigeria is unfortunate, and it firmly represents one of the many misdemeanors. This is more than a misdemeanor. Misdemeanor is, this is almost, some would say almost felonious, that put us in our present predicament. How can a nation move forward with this? The step taken by President Buhari is a welcome development. Persons found to have been involved in this heinous, wicked, and unforgivable crime against the nation must face appropriate sanctions, no matter their positions in society. Anything short of this will be unacceptable. We must call a spade a spade. All
right, now from Jack Solomon, that's a different view altogether. So the big question is why Nigeria's refusal to enter appeal for over 5 years since the ruling was given. Can we boastfully say we are responsible for this huge sum awarded because of our nonchalant attitude in attending to pertinent...
I'm curious. You see, this is a kind of misinformation that is being sponsored by P&ID. P&ID has engaged some Nigerians to do their dirty job for them. Now, like I gave you the timeline, contract was entered into 2010. It went to arbitration 2013. The interim award was given 2017. Where is the 5 years that we didn't appeal? And immediately the award was given, federal government engaged with his lawyers, P&ID, to see how we could, arrive at an amicable solution. Was frustrated.
I think what the person was saying that in 2013, when the award first came, we had 14, 15, 16, 17, 4 years.
That's arbitration.
Okay.
That's arbitration. 2013 arbitration started, Nigeria was represented. So where is the 4 or 5 years that we did nothing?
Well,
it's kind of disinformation.
You say that some persons probably have been engaged to push the position of P&ID. Part of what is also available in the information space is the claim by P&ID that, look, it came as a do-gooder, that it was supposed to help, process this gas and then boost gas supply to the Gencos, and then help Nigeria's 180 million people have electricity that was supposed to generate 3,000 megawatts.
If I've been awarded the $9.6 billion damages for doing nothing, I can employ the most expensive PR consultants in the world to spread this kind of story. This is what is happening. But unfortunately, even the Nigerians who are being employed and being engaged, they fail to realize that in the unlikely event that we lose 20% of our foreign reserves, they will also be affected.
Exactly.
There are examples in other parts of the world that when issues come like this, you should be very patriotic.
You see, Honorable Minister, I raised the question earlier, and then you've also addressed it. The question of economic hitmen. They manifest in different forms. Why is it that almost at all times, the quantum of Nigeria's foreign reserves is of interest to a certain... We know that, it is useful in terms of your import capacity, your capacity to pay your imports and then back up your credit and so on and so forth. But it just looks like portfolio persons or portfolio carriers around the world keep targeting Nigeria's foreign reserves to see what they can download from it and then take off. What is happening to us?
Kingsley, without internal collaborators, external conspirators will never succeed. I think we must admit that. There's something wrong with us in Nigeria. The people in the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources in 2010, they were not British, they were Nigerians. And this is why we must get to the root of this problem. We must find out those who are there and the role everybody played, either inside government or outside government.
Yeah, Honorable Minister, honestly, I don't envy you and some of you who are in government, facing this kind of situation. And to make it worse, it's not taking place in Nigeria. It's not taking place in Nigeria. Yes. We have to go out of the country to face the music. But what also worries many is the fact that the first was in the U.S., in Washington, D.C.
No, we are still, as a matter of fact, they are also asking for enforcement in the U.S. And we've engaged lawyers in the U.S. to fight that one, to challenge that also. Because, honestly, like I say, the whole thing is very unfortunate. It's a nightmare. And we just need to do two things. One, locally, find out and fish out those who are responsible for this. But more importantly, take all steps, legal, diplomatic, whatsoever, to ensure that this kind of, haste, because it's haste, it's just like daylight robbery.
Exactly.
Which, if allowed to take place, will have such, drastic effect on the
economy and even on the nation's
on the life
monetary
of
policy.
everybody.
Exactly.
So that is the task before us now.
All right, you are watching Good Morning Nigeria on the network service.